Hi, Kalyan. Thank you for joining us for the India Global Business interview. Small Prints is something which is very close to my heart, where I interview co-founders and innovators like you, where we talk about technologies that India has to offer to the globe, as well as the work that a lot of you have been doing in the last few years, including the good work during the pandemic. So, Kalyan, why don't you first start off introducing yourself to the audience?
Sure. Paramji, first of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity, and always a pleasure talking to you. And this is more like a fireside chat where, we are old buddies from London chatting, and excited that, you're giving me this opportunity to talk to your audience. So I'm just a brief about me. I'm Kalyan Shivasailam. I am a co-founder and the CEO of 5C Network. We're a health tech startup based in Bangalore. And our ultimate aim is to get faster and better care to patients all across the country. And Syed, my co-founder, and I realized that the biggest hurdle to faster and better care is access to high quality and accurate and actionable diagnostics and timely diagnostics. And so we realized that we could make an impact by helping hospitals and diagnostic centers deliver higher quality and faster diagnosis to their patients. And through that, help deliver better healthcare outcomes. And so that's briefly about me and 5C. I am a computer science engineer with a postgraduate degree in intellectual property rights. And right after finishing my academic life, I started 5C, but a constant learner. And if anybody asks me, I would say that I'm from the school of hard knocks. So, yes.
Absolutely. So, I do remember our days in London, of course, and the way you've been passionate about your work, about 5C Network, and the vision that you have is something that will definitely help a lot of patients get the correct diagnostic, timely diagnostics. Where it is very important. Where lives could be saved by the fraction
Yep.
of a second if this could be done right.
Yeah.
Talking of saving lives, you have been doing that over the last few years now. How has the journey been for 5C Network, since inception? And, what have been the roadblocks? What have been the achievements that you've been able to do? Could you just talk more about it?
Sure. And just to give all our wonderful listeners a little more understanding of what 5C does, I'll try to narrate two brief stories and then tell you a little bit more about our journey. And the first story happens in 2016 and the other one in 2020. So in 2016, a gentleman named Syed was admitted into a large hospital in Bangalore because he had what is known as syncope, which is constant fainting. He had a very, very high BP. And after being admitted, he actually had to undergo an MRI of his brain and spine. Unfortunately, because there was no specialist available, the final diagnosis of what was wrong with him never came for over 2 days. And so for 2 days, he was just being treated symptomatically, right? As and when his BP shot up, he was just being treated symptomatically. At one point in time on Saturday night, when he was in the hospital and things started escalating, the nurse had asked his family to just pray because she did not know what else to do, and he was just being treated symptomatically. Fast forward to 2020, a young man named Prakash in a place called Koppa, which is a taluk in Shimoga district in the north of Karnataka. Prakash is young man, 29 years. Now he'll be 30. Prakash got into a pretty bad bike accident, unfortunately, and a good Samaritan took him to the nearest diagnostic center, which is Koppa Diagnostic Center in this area. Immediately he had gotten a CT scan of his brain, which revealed what is known as an extradural hemorrhage, right? Which is a pretty critical thing. The moment this was diagnosed, and this was diagnosed within 10 minutes, Dr. Uday, who is the owner of that diagnostic center, immediately sent Prakash in an ambulance to the nearest hospital in Shimoga with a neuro OT. By the time Prakash was in, the treating surgeon had already seen the images on his phone, spoken to the radiologist on what exactly the problem was. So the door to needle time for Prakash was literally zero after he got to the hospital. And the good news is that he survived that operation and he's now thriving. A couple of weeks later, I got a box of Motichur Laddu from Dr. Uday. Motichur Laddu is incidentally my favorite sweet. And Dr.
Nice.
Uday had sent me that to thank 5C for literally helping him be a part of that mission that saved Prakash's life. And Syed, as you would have guessed, is obviously my co-founder. Dr. Uday is one of more than now 1,000 hospitals and diagnostic centers across the country that depend on 5C for faster and better diagnosis for their patients. And Prakash is now one of over 2 million patients who have gotten diagnosis from 5C, and one of over 100,000 patients whose life-saving diagnosis is given by 5C that directly led to faster and better treatment. So we connect hospitals and diagnostic centers and build the technology, and we connect them to the right radiologists to deliver the best possible diagnostic result. The journey has been interesting, and I think that big thanks to the incredible radiology community that has embraced technology and embraced what I would call an outsider, like me and Syed, into this ecosystem, and really allowed us to grow and flourish. We started towards the end of 2016, where we used to go to all these tier 2, tier 3 cities in India and try to get in hospitals and diagnostic centers. Today, we're in, like I said, over 1,000. In terms of what the greatest challenges and roadblocks have been, I think that like any startup, early business traction is always a challenge. And as you evolve, your challenges also evolve, right? So today we are reasonably well entrenched. And today our challenges are, how do I improve and increase wallet share amongst every client? We have high net promoter scores, but how do we get more and more wallet share from these people? Our challenges are going international, right? And taking all this incredible technology we've built here and showcasing it to the world. And the challenge for every entrepreneur, right? How do you get the right talent, who can take the company to the next level? And those are questions that always keep me up, but it's an exciting time.
No, great. Great to hear about the stories, and great to hear about how you guys have been saving lives. Over 2 billion, you said, lives is what you guys have saved.
Over 2 million lives.
Yes. So which is huge, because I know how critical it is myself, having been, in a situation earlier in my life, that the right diagnostics as the right time probably is the key to saving lives. Not to mention, of course, the right treatment at the right time. But for the treatment to happen, I think the diagnostics has to happen at the right time. So that's the key. Exactly. I believe, COVID, while it has been a dampener for all of us, has been, a thing that has made everyone struggle, created some opportunities and created a new scope for you. And you guys have been doing a lot of work during COVID. While, people had been working from home, you guys still continued working remotely, but we're doing a lot of work. Can you tell more about what you guys have been up to in the last 15 months now?
Sure, Paramji. So, March 24th, 2020, when India suddenly closed up, we saw over an 80% dip in our daily transaction volumes, because at that point in time, hospitals were also closed. And if a hospital got a single COVID case, the commissionerate or the civic bodies would go and close down the hospital. And so nobody was stepping out. And then as the infection kind of spread, and as PCR testing was lagging behind and was decidedly inaccurate, it came up that radiology would be an excellent way, especially CT scans are a pretty reliable way in not just the diagnosis, but probably much more importantly, the prognosis of COVID patients. And what happened is that the radiology community basically across the globe started adopting what is known as the CT severity score. So a PCR test can tell you how much, whether you are positive or not. But a COVID CT score will tell you how much infection is actually there in your lungs. And so this objectivity that radiology brought into the picture started getting a huge amount of adoption. And, during the peak of the first wave, your July, August, September time, we saw a huge number of COVID scans come through the platform. And what we realized was that we could play a central and a defining role in this. So we were one of the first radiology teams in India to standardize reporting, to adopt CT severity scoring in all our reports, and to sensitize continuously our group of radiologists in order to make sure that reports are being standardized. And why, again, standardization is so important is that, especially in non-urban India, patients of COVID are not treated by expert pulmonologists. They're treated by general practitioners. In many cases, they're treated by MBBS students. They need as much help as they can get from the diagnostic side so that they can take, decisive action on the treatment side. And so radiology really brought that into the focus. And a couple of other themes I think became very important. One is radiologists kind of realized that there is a future of work for them digitally.
Absolutely.
And they said, hey, if I'm sitting at home and I have access to 20 clients in literally 27 states in the country, I'm able to give my expertise to, I may be sitting in Bangalore, but a radiologist here will get one case from Chennai, one case from Coimbatore, one case from Delhi, one case from Nagaland, one case from Arunachal Pradesh, one case from Gujarat. And so they are literally, being able to serve the whole of the country from the comfort of their homes. And because of the scale that we have been able to reach, they've been able to earn more on a digital platform like 5C than what they would have, going and traveling to hospitals and diagnostic centers. And so from a future of work perspective, I think right place, right time. And radiologists realize that a platform like 5C with the technology that we're able to bring, with the community experience, could be the future of what radiology looks like. And on the flip side, hospitals and diagnostic centers started realizing that, they wanted direct costs. They didn't want fixed costs. And equally as importantly, they wanted high quality assurance and a very short turnaround time. Just imagine a COVID patient waiting in a diagnostic center. You need to get that guy out in 30 minutes.
Agreed.
And so,
absolutely.
And so we built our whole system to ensure that turnaround times are minimized while making sure that quality is always the highest priority. And so even for these hospitals and diagnostic centers, the proposition suddenly, it was always making sense, but a lot of layers got added because of the pandemic situation. And so it was I would say, some level of virtuous cycle. It was unfortunate, like you initially pointed out, that it takes a pandemic to push digital health, but it is probably one of the silver linings that with the adoption of digital health during a pandemic is hopefully here to stay.
I think I'll take that last bit that you said, and I'm someone who tries to look at something more optimistically. And as you rightly said, that we need to look at the positives that have emerged out of the pandemic. Of course, we've lost lives, we've lost dear ones, and this is something that we all will not forget, and probably our generations will not forget. But I think what we need to understand is we as humans and we as Indians probably, we've adapted the best to these kind of situations. And as you rightly said, that digital health was something that probably was, when we met, in 2018, digital health was something that was very close to the Western world, and India probably was not talking as much as it's talking now. And I'm happy that we're now at a level playing field when it comes to the West and India. And I think we're much ahead, of course, when it comes to digital health now. The point that you made about a radiologist sitting in remote corner of India and still treating patients or seeing reports of patients pan-India, I think there's also an opportunity for global collaborations to happen as well. What do you think about it? Do you think that this could now be a global collaboration at some stage, where if there is a standardization of treatment or diagnostics, probably a radiologist sitting in India could also be giving an opinion on the reports of a patient here in the UK or in US or somewhere in Africa?
I think a very valid question, Paramji. And I think the answer, in my opinion, is a resounding yes, for a bunch of reasons. It starts with credit to the medical fraternity rather than, technology people like us who are building software. The Indian medical community, especially specialist doctors, are highly, highly regarded. I mean, a non-trivial percentage of NHS and even your American board certified physicians are Indians, are of Indian origin. And they have either gone through the Indian academic system or they have close ties to it. And I think that itself is such an advantage for Indian companies. And we may not have the best reputation as a country when it comes to, let's say, generic drugs or pharma for various reasons. But when it comes to, the quality of medical talent, it's never been under question. And the top institutions in India compete with the very best in the world. Absolutely. And so I think that's the first heads up that's important for medtech people to recognize, is that the medical fraternity has done their job by being excellent. I also think that because of general factors like cost and unavailability, this kind of what I would call outshoring will happen more and more, and it is already happening to a small extent. The original concept of remote radiology was actually from the US to India, right? And not India to India. India to India is a concept that, companies like FICI are pioneering. But the original concept of digital radiology was when it's night in the US, it's day here, and we can help them with emergency reporting.
Absolutely.
And I think that this will pick up, and I think technology will then even the playing field, when we will be able to prove to, large trusts within the NHS or large trusts in the Australian healthcare system that, hey, our doctors with the technology that we have built can deliver 30-minute turnaround times and, match up to the level of accuracies that you're expecting. And we can deliver the customer service in a very bespoke way that you would expect. And I think that if these three things add together with continuous government push, and it would take some bold entrepreneurship. Somebody has to go and understand the way to crack this from a go-to-market perspective. But once that happens, I think that will open up, many avenues for many, not just companies like FICI into the tele-diagnostic space, but even in the telemedicine space.
Absolutely. And you mentioned about, going out, and you need an entrepreneur who would go out, understand the markets, and, and then take the bold steps of going global and getting this as a global community. And I know you've been doing that, and that's how we met. But what's the future for you? What's the future for FICI beyond the pandemic? Because I believe you have now achieved a scale where it's only one direction, and that's north for the company now. So, what's next for you, and how does the future look like? What's your vision for FICI and yourself 5 years from now, probably?
So, I mean, first thing is, it looks north because I have a lot of well-wishers, people like you, who are wishing well upon the company, opening their contact books and making yourself available to entrepreneurs like me. So I think that when you said, it's looking up, it's only because of the ecosystem that I've been lucky enough to cultivate, and I hope that continues. That being said, this is such a difficult journey, and the hope, like I said, is that we keep going up. In terms of what it looks like, what the future looks like, a few very important things that we are working on that, I will try to, quickly tell you. The first is, and we spoke about this just now, so international, where the expertise and the experience and the technology that we have built can be given out to hospitals and diagnostic centers in other countries, Middle East, Southeast Asia, Africa, right? Eastern Europe, forget the large regulated economies,
right?
These medium level regulated healthcare economies. I think there's a huge opportunity for a business like FICI to make a dent there. And we're looking to find ways in which we can keep pushing the envelope. A few other things. I think first is really today we have been very focused on operational excellence and delivering great to our customers. That is now evolving to not just that, but having a much wider scientific angle. And so we're working a lot on building the FICI Academy, where we are, building a suite of products and services, helping radiologists upskill themselves, helping radiologists train themselves, and helping radiologists build a community that allows them to do their best work. And this is so important, especially when it comes to scaling quality. Scaling business is a different issue, right? But scaling and maintaining high excellence is very difficult at scale. And I think that the recipe for success here is building academies and building communities. And FICI is putting a lot of effort and a lot of talent into building that. We have some of the leading radiologists in the country working with us to do this, and it's very exciting. Apart from that, product is paramount, right? And we have done so many product interventions. We have pioneered a bunch of, from loading the X-ray or the CT or MRI image faster on a radiologist screen than ever before, to building and aggregating the best AI and making it available to radiologists to help them be faster, more accurate, and more consistent. There's a lot of work to continue to be done on the product side. And the experience that radiologists will have on FICI in 5 years, hopefully, is something that I hope would be taken out directly from some kind of sci-fi book, where they come in. Could they just wear I don't know, some kind of immersive goggles and look at everything like they're going through the anatomy, being able to tag it, being able to expand it. The experience for radiologists is the most important thing, and they are the heroes and they are the stars. And so constantly, investing in building an incredible experience for them from a product lens is
Right.
key. And these are some of the main things that 5C is really looking to keep driving.
No, that's excellent. And the point that you made about quality is really important. And I also see a area of collaboration, and probably that's how we could crack the code when it comes to international collaboration. That probably if the 5C Institute could also involve itself with some of the training institutes abroad, and probably get those radiologists on board your network. Probably that's how you would be able to also look at helping the countries that you rightly said are less regulated and need the support of digital health, probably for getting the diagnostics in time, good quality, and of course at a faster pace. Kalyan, I think I'm going to end on a very different note in this one. So two things I know about you is you're very passionate about your your business, your work that you do, and and saving lives. But then I know you also love singing, and this one is, I'm sure, a surprise that's come to you. But I
It's
know
a
a lot of your
surprise.
friends and a lot of people who know you and me know this, that you love singing.
Yeah.
Um, so what's happening on that front? What's happening on your personal front? Are you still continue to sing, and do you want to hum a couple of lines for my viewers?
Ooh, you're putting me on a spot, Paramji. But coming to your question, yeah, still constant, continuously singing. I think that music has been my constant companion, especially through this lockdown. I've become reasonably proficient with the ukulele.
Nice.
Right. So I've been playing a bit, and now I can do 70, 80 songs. It's good fun.
Oh, great.
And I've got a little bit more finger dexterity because of that. I'm still, composing some of my own stuff. I do get some time, and I reserve time for that. I'm admittedly not the best lyric writer, admittedly, but I've been able to come up with some pretty good tunes, and I should definitely share some right after this call with you, and hopefully you will enjoy it. And I've been trained in classical music for a long time, and my whole family are music nuts. So as always, it starts in the morning with Suprabhatam, and the music flows throughout the day.
Great, great, Kalyan, and I can't wait to get the songs from you, because I remember the evening that we spent here in central London,
Yeah, in the Taj,
at Taj,
at the Taj, yeah.
we had this reception, and
Yeah.
probably you made it quite lively, because that was towards the end of the program that we're doing. But yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that I'm looking forward to. But Kalyan, thank you so much for coming live with me and doing this interview with me, because I know the great work that you've been doing and the scope that it has for saving more lives globally. Keep up the good work, and all the best for the future plans as well. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Paramji. Thank you. It was a pleasure being with you on this show.
Thank you.